We're here for an out-of-box review. This is Bandai vs. Revell this time. They are not the same scale, so a direct comparison is going to be a little on the hard side, in my opinion. But they are the same subject. They're both new toolings because there's no way the Special Forces TIE Fighter is a rebox. If it's a rebox, they've reboxed something by adding parts. Okay? And, well, that's what they did with the Millennium Falcon. Revell failed there. We're giving them another try. I also have the Resistance X-Wings to look at. But this just came in. Now, one thing about this, since Bandai was given the cease and desist orders, they have scaled back their Star Wars releases dramatically. They've only got 3 kits for 2016. This is one of the 3. The other is Captain Phasma, and Kylo Ren is the 3rd one. That's it for 2016. No, sorry. Poe Dameron's X-Wing is one of them, and Kylo Ren is the other. So there's 2 more. They've already released Captain Phasma, I think. So, the other news that's coming up is Dragon Models has picked up a Star Wars license. Now, I don't know if they can sell that in the U.S. Somehow I think they can't, unless Disney has shuffled the license around all of a sudden. Let's hope Disney does do that and just goes up to Bandai and goes, let it go. That would be best for everyone, but that's just me. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and open the Revell kit first, because I haven't looked inside this box. I know that looked like that was open there, but well, let's look at the back of it. It says skill level 2, age 8 to 10, easy snap assembly, no glue or paint, may requires tools, build time about an hour. This said the same thing on the Millennium Falcon box. Let's open it up and see what it is. I don't know what scale it is, but I know it's not the same scale as the Bandai kit. And there's everything out of the box. There's no way that's the same scale as the Bandai kit. You can see it with the cockpit glass right there. Way bigger than the Bandai kit. And the Bandai kit, just for fun, let's find the Canopy real quick. Well, there's the Canopy decal. Okay. So, yeah, there's the Canopy right there. You can see they're not the same scale. If I know the Bandai kit, they put the scale on the box. They're nice that way. It's 1/72, and this looks like it's almost twice the size of the Bandai kit. So, well, no, that's like 3 times the size. So 72 divided by 3 goes to, no, yeah, 2. I usually can do this without thinking. 7 divided by 3 goes twice, carry the 1, and then 12 divided, it's 24th, 1/24 scale, okay? Which is a very large scale. I bet the X-Wing is not. So let's look at the Revell kit real quick. Let me quit rambling. Here's the directions, and I can change the color of the background real quickly. I'm just using a piece of poster board, or foam board. It starts right there. You just got some warnings there. You got 3 different languages. It doesn't say the scale. It doesn't say the scale here. It just talks about being improved. It has the full interior on it, it looks like. We're building the interior first, which is good. It looks like it has a full interior. That's kind of new for us Revell model builders. Well, actually, they had a TIE Fighter, a Snap TIE Fighter kit, where they had the full interior as well. Complete interior ball, okay? And then we have the glass, and it looks like it's working, so you can open and close it. The canopy you glue on the inside. I know Bandai's is glued on the outside, so you can remove it and look inside if you feel like. There's the bottom part. You put the 2 halves, sub-assemblies together there. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. The wings are 2 parts, 3 parts counting the checker piece. That reminds me of a checker set. That's what it does. You got your laser cannons to go there. The wings glue on. Yeah, it looks like it will take them about an hour to put it together. And then your stand, and that looks just like the stand for the TIE Fighter, the Snap TIE Fighter kit. I have it downstairs. I might go get it, and we might do a comparison and see if they are reboxing parts. Because I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest. Okay, so here we have a solar panel, and I gotta open it. And like normal, I'm not 100% prepared. This is amateur video you were watching here. You don't pay for it, so... I mean, you can pay for it by clicking a few ads, hint. I do get money for that. Okay, now, taking a look at it. Let me do a zoom, so to speak. And I've got the camera, I found the camera's fast zoom setting. So it zooms a lot faster. It'll probably have to refocus though. If you look at it, you can see they actually have some nice detail on the fins themselves. It feels like these two panels, yep, they come pre-snapped together. It is a pre-paint. These parts are painted, okay? And the panel comes pre-assembled for you. And I'm sure this is an identical sprue. It is pre-painted again. I'm not going to open that bag. Then we get in here, we just have a couple of things. It is pretty good size. You can tell by looking at it. Trying not to cut my foam board while I open the baggie. Ah, there it is, it's free. Okay. Let's zoom that back. Now, let's leave it zoomed. Okay, now, we'll look at the clear parts in a minute. Let me separate this. This is the base. This base looks exactly the same as the other TIE Fighter. Except for the other TIE Fighter was a nice glossy finish, and this one it's not. And I know the other TIE Fighter, this isn't going to be an identical sprue, because the other TIE Fighter wouldn't have had a lot of these parts to it. I mean, it might have had this, it might have had that, but it won't have these. Oh, we're zoomed too much. You don't even know what I'm looking at. Some of you gave me a hard time about that in the last videos, the oil videos. Okay, this is not an identical sprue to the Snap TIE Fighter they have, the large-scale TIE Fighter. The base looks the same. This part looks the same. This part looks the same. These are not on the TIE Fighter. That's not on the TIE Fighter. These might be. None of this over here is on the normal TIE Fighter. Okay, so they have redone that sprue. Here's the next sprue. Okay. These are pre-painted and not all that well. Here, let me zoom this and you can see. Okay, if you look along there, there is a little bleeding on the paint. So that is paint, and you can see it down in here too. You're going to want to strip that and redo that yourself. Okay, but if you're a serious model builder, you're going to strip the paint off this thing anyhow. That's the truth. Although, this isn't too badly done right there. I got to give them kudos for that one. And there's the two cockpit chairs. So it does have a full cockpit. And it is going to be massive when it's done. Alright? So let us take a look at the Bandai kit. And let's see the differences, shall we? There's going to be color differences. And I'm going to keep the Revell kit where we can reach it. Within reach. Okay? The Bandai kit has more pieces. I hate to say it, but it does. Okay? Everything's in Japanese. The box art, that's in English. That's in English. That's where it ends. Everything is in Japanese. Okay? And they're showing the detail. It looks like this has the full interior as well. It is a smaller scale. To me, that's happier these days because we have space issues around the house. The directions are full color. It comes with effect pieces. Okay. It comes with one of their, it's Star Wars Base 11. When we get in here, we can start looking at the interior. It does come with the full interior. Both chairs. It is 1/3 the scale, so they molded the chairs together, but with Bandai and how they do things, I'm not worried about it. And I was listening to someone the other day. They might computer design all their parts and stuff, but once the computer makes the molds, a human goes in and cleans up the molds because they're looking for perfection on it. Anyhow, you want to see some amazing stuff, go get a Gundam model. Make sure it is a real grade model. There's some amazing, just utterly amazing parts inside one of those. Looking at the directions again, you can see it. They definitely have the full interior in 1/72nd scale. Okay. The assembly order is fairly similar, except for right there, you're putting those two red pieces on. They are separate plastic. They're not pre-painted. And the assembly order is fairly similar. You've got more pieces to this kit, so it takes a little bit longer. And you'll notice that the wing panels come in 3 pieces, so you can paint and then assemble. All right? And you can see the assembly order is almost the same. Oh, I did it again. One of these days, I'm going to learn to look at the camera before I start grabbing things. There we go, starting over. It has the full interior, you can see it there. The assembly order is about the same. Okay? You put the interior together, you put the ball together, then you put the wings together. There's more pieces, so it's going to take a little bit longer to put the wings together. Then you put the wings on. On the flip side, you have a paint coloring guide and a decal guide. So you have a full color guide. Okay? And there is this stand assembly parts. Like always, the Star Wars kits from Bandai do come with water slide decals and stickers. So let's start taking a look at this, because again, there are more parts. I want to compare proportions and that sort of thing. So let's open this one. I'm not worried about opening the, well, we'll open them all. Let's we did it with the Revell. We'll do it with this one. Okay? There we go. Okay. The first up are pilots. We have the pilots down here at the bottom. Now, this is a smaller sprue, so I'm going to do the big zoom, since it's a smaller sprue. So we're getting the big zoom out, okay? Now we can see the pilots. Let's see if Revell even supplied pilots. I don't think they did. Nope, Revell did not supply pilots for their kit. Okay, but typical Bandai, the pilots have pretty good detail. Now if we come over to here, we're getting the cockpit tub. It's right here. Okay. And then we got our solar panels. The solar panels, even at 1/72nd scale, you can see it with the zoom I got going. You can see that detail on them. It is every bit as good as the detail at the 1/24th. Very nice detail on these wings. Okay? Then we got our red parts down here at the bottom. Our canopy, and then the clear. Bandai molds everything on one sprue too, which is interesting. Okay? Let me set this aside. Let me open this other sprue. Now, when we get this sprue open, I can start directly comparing parts. The reason being is they're not the same parts in the same locations, and it's kind of hard to do so. All right. Now, we got this open. We got Star Wars Base 11 here. All right. And Star Wars Base 11, really, it's sandy. This thing crash lands on Jakku. So we have a nice sandy thing. That's wonderful. A little sarcasm there. Okay. Now, if it was me, I would get some sand from the craft store, cover that with Elmer's glue, and cover it with sand so it actually looks like sand. Just me. We get your effect parts. Okay. Now we have some detail we can start comparing. We have our second pilot. All right. So we can see. Now right here is the bottom of the ship. Let's take a zoom. Let's take a look at that detail. Because I know where that part is on the Revell kit. And let's see how Revell and Bandai compare with their detail here. Now, you got to remember, we're looking at two different scales, so the Revell kit should be at minimum as well detailed as the Bandai kit. Now, this is at minimum. If it's not as well detailed at the larger scale, they're being lazy. Because Bandai is really working it at that small scale. Also, I'm pretty sure Bandai is working off the original, ooh, that was fun, is working off the original laser scans. I mean, the original model, whereas Revell probably is not. Ooh, we want that part right there. Okay? Now, when you look at it, the Revell kit, this part is really predominant in its this detail right there. Whereas on the Bandai kit, you can see it right next to it. If the camera would focus, there we go. It's focusing on both of them. It's not as detailed. I mean, not as predominant. Now, it could just be a scale difference, so it looks that way. Okay? Now, when we start comparing panel lines on the Bandai kit, notice the Bandai kit's very shiny and glossy. We have some ribbing right here where my finger's pointing. And if I move this, you have the same ribbing there. Now, to me, I am partial to Bandai, I won't lie. I like the Bandai ribbing better. Okay? I just do. It looks more like a vent. And we're going to compare something else real quick. There is a Y feature right over here. Now, let me move that up a little bit so everyone can see it better. There's a Y feature over there. Yeah, there's a Y feature over there. So if we get the Bandai kit in here, let's move the Revell out and start looking and let the camera focus. Everyone see that Y feature over there? To be honest, if I'm going to get really nitpicky, it's hard to tell the two apart. The two seem to have equal amounts of detail, and that's an honest answer. Large scale, small scale. The detail looks a little soft on the Revell kit. Again, I'm partial to Revell. Let me turn this part over. And let's look at this. Okay? Because we have it on here. Okay? You can see it's a big piece here. It's not such a big piece here. Now, if we go around the outside of this thing, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, did I count that one? So let's start over. I'll count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did I count that one twice? Start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 I'm going around the outside. On the Bandai kit, what do we have? I'm counting them off camera, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 of them on the Bandai kit as well. Okay? Now, one thing about the Bandai kit, when I bring it in there, they got little 4s on them. Okay? This is the underside of that part. And if I turn it over, we get the same side we're looking at. And when I look at this, this has got some good detail to it. It really does have some good detail to it. I don't know. Looking at the detail, they look pretty similar. This is pre-painted. Okay, I do see one difference. Okay? If we take and put the Revell part in here, let's see if the camera will focus where I want it to, right here where my thumb is. You see there's 2 lines running down the center of that pylon? And if we get the Bandai part in there, focus right here, right here. Come on, you. Now, it wants to stay focused there. That's the problem with autofocus. I could flip it to manual focus, but you'd hate me. Because I'd forget to get it to autofocus. There we go. I had to just move it out. Now, if you take a look at it, you can see the part does have lines along there, but it's not along the lines of two grooves. Now, I don't know which one's correct and which one's not, to be honest with you. Another direct comparison part we can do, the seats right here, okay? There's the Revell seats. Pre-painted, of course, because Revell pre-paints their stuff. And here's the Bandai seat. Where my finger is. It's not going to want to focus there very easily. Give it a second. If I set it down, it focuses. There we go. If I set it down, you can see it focused. Now, what's the difference between them? Okay? Well, when I look at it, I don't know if I'd want to sit in the Bandai seat. But then again, without getting the directions out, I don't know if there is padding or something. Another thing to consider is if I bring the pilot in here, the pilot has a groove in his back, so that's why the seat has a groove down the center. That's for gluing the pilot in. So you can't compare the detail directly on the pilot. Let's go to the ball. Okay? Let's go to the ball. Because we have those where we can see them very easily. Here is the Revell one. Let's get that back in frame right there. I'm going to bring the camera out some so we can see the whole thing. There's the Revell one. Here's the Bandai right next to it. Okay? Bandai is much smaller, of course, because it is 1/3 scale. Now, looking to the Bandai kit, I don't really see much in surface detail. The only places I see the surface detail are around these ports right here. Okay? On the Bandai kit. Now, when you look at this one does have a few panel lines, but they're on the Bandai kit. I'm going to put the Bandai part up here and go do a good zoom on it in a minute, so we can take a look at them and compare them. Okay, the camera will focus. Just give it a second. So there's the Bandai kit. We're under full zoom right there. Yeah, we can get almost the same frame reference in there. You look at it, we have the exact same details on both model kits. And if anything, I think the Bandai kit looks better around these ports than the Revell kit does. It could be me. Might not be. But to me, it looks a little bit better. Okay? So, having taken a look at them, and there is one more part of Bandai stuff here, which is, yeah, we could do that. Just one more piece left here. It is the wings themselves, okay, which you don't have. I can't find the equivalent part on Revell, so there you go. I'm not going to do it. I was going to look at the end of the wings, the end caps on the wings here, okay, but I don't see it anywhere on the Revell kit, and that is weird and strange at the same time. There isn't that many sprue to the Revell kit. Alright, I'm going to call it quits there, because I don't want this video to be 7 hours long, and it's probably already 25-30 minutes long, as it is. Conclusion, I found the end cap detail finally. It's right there. Conclusion here. One thing I will say, the Revell kit, well, this is definitely an improvement over that Millennium Falcon. The details are where they belong. They're kind of soft in places. The pre-paint I don't like. The Bandai kit is molded in color. I know what colors you use where. I don't have to strip paint. From that perspective, I like the Bandai kit better because it's molded in color. Detail-wise, they're pretty similar, and one's 1/3 the scale of the other. And you know, my honest truth is they shouldn't be similar in detail. The Revell kit at the larger scale should be a more detailed model. That's just my thinking anyhow. But outside that, details are where they belong. Both models are sharing the same sort of detail, the same sort of pattern. I can wait till we're off camera. Both models are showing the same detail in the same locations. I think the Revell kit's a little softer, just me. But you don't want to get the Bandai kit, getting the Revell kit, you're going to get a Special Forces tie. I just wish it had pilots, and I wish it wasn't pre-painted. No pilots, no pre-paint, I would be happier with it. Honestly, I don't know about the cockpit details, how accurate it is, how close it is, but it looks very similar to the Bandai kit, so I can't say too much bad here. In other words, if we can get Revell to quit being lazy and ditch all their old Star Wars stuff and start over, we'd be much happy modelers. Because this is a new tooling. It isn't that bad. I just wish I had more detail than the kit that was 1/3 its size. That's just me. Okay? But it still isn't bad. They're heading the right direction. I can say that. We'll get to the X-Wings. I've had a couple of comments that the Revell X-Wings actually a pretty good kit. So, we'll get to them in a little while. Hope you enjoyed the video.